What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the show. The Tim Warren Show is starting. It is Wednesday, August 13th, and we got a lot to talk about today. Google is predicting that altcoin season has already started or is about to start. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? I'll explain more of that here in just a little bit. It's no secret, though, that coins like Ethereum and Chainlink are surging right now and doing very well. In today's video, I'm actually going to go through 8 coins, and I'm super impressed with this week. That might not be done. That it's still probably time to jump in on these coins, but we're also going to take a look at another 8 altcoins that haven't pumped very vigorously yet, that still have massive upside potential. Do not go anywhere. We have a lot of discussions. Is Chainlink killing XRP? This is the show for you. Make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe. But before we get into all of that juicy content, I got to introduce my team here. The whole team is back. Smay is here. Shrum is here. Make sure you're subscribing and liking if you love these two guys. Boys, how are we feeling today?
You know, Tim, I'm not a boy. I'm a man. First and
Good
foremost, I
point.
want to get that out of the
My
way.
bad. I apologize
I
for
want to
that.
get that out of the way. Secondly,
Yeah.
I feel great. I feel great.
Very glad. Very glad to hear it. Shrum, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing better than I deserve. Baked into that somewhere, though, is the unfortunate truth that I broke my laptop yesterday. So I'm on our Plan B laptop. We are always prepared here with what we do on our team. And so we had a backup laptop by the grace of God. And so I'm coming to you on a subpar laptop, but mine will be fixed. And I'll be giving a shout out to the store here in Virginia that fixed it.
You know, one of the things that defines my personality and what I did growing up, there was a youth pastor that I knew of. Smay, you know this story, probably heard it probably multiple times. There was a youth pastor who pretty much told me for the longest time, he always tried to like set up meetings and things with people, but if not enough people came or they didn't plan it good enough, he'd just cancel last second. And ultimately, he said at the end of the day, he had to realize the best leadership skill is being present and showing up. You might not have everything perfect. You might have some flaws. You might have some problems, but at the end of the day, the most important thing you can do is simply just show up and be present. So Shrum, not only was he top of his class and is probably the smartest person in this little triangle, he also is a great leader because he's showing up. How about that? Round of applause for the Shrumster. There we go. There we go. All right, guys, I'm excited about today's show. I'm excited. You know, we're not going to talk about it today, but football season's coming. This September is going to be this perfect angle as alt season heats up, as my portfolio looks really, really good, and football season is back. I mean, you cannot get a happier Tim. We just had our second child. Football's coming. Altcoins are rallying. What more can you ask for in life at this point? I think there's really not anything else that can make it better. You know, unless Jesus came back. If Jesus came back tomorrow, that'd be really cool too.
I can ask first. I have one thing that I get asked for.
What would you add?
A wonderful, loving wife.
True. That'd be good. Yeah. See, I have one of those, and so does Shrum. So you're left out there. All right.
And maybe the Steelers to be good, and maybe like
let's drop a one in
the
chat. Drop a one in the chat if you'd be willing to be.
So
believe it or not, that man in the bottom right box, he is single as a Pringle. Get in while the action's hot because, listen, Smay's at his peak right now, and you want to jump in while the water's warm. Let's go back to crypto.
Okay, sorry. Anyways.
Oh, man, we got a lot to break down here today. Let's start off. We usually jump right into the charts, but I think today's a good day to start off on a different chart that we don't normally look at, and that is the Google Trends chart. Let's go to my screen here, Smay, and you're probably going to have to take my face off of the block here for just a second because this is going to be very important. Now, if you guys don't know, Google Trends, very cool feature you can use. If you're in the social media world, you probably use this a lot. But I want to make sure if you go in here, click on worldwide. If you guys want to backtrack this with me, make sure you're looking worldwide. You know, if you looked at the United States, it's going to be a little bit different. If you looked in your personal country, it might be different. But worldwide, we're looking here. We're looking at the past 5 years. And I want to make sure we're also looking at all web searches, right? So we're not singling it down to just YouTube or just Google searches, everything across the internet. What is the search history going on right now? And you'll notice right now in Bitcoin, you look at the chart here, Bitcoin's trending up. Bitcoin's heading to the upside. But there's a very definitive difference between what I'm seeing right now on the Bitcoin search term versus, let's take a look at some others, like just keep it simple, crypto. Crypto predicting a lot higher of a move. A lot more people looking at the search term crypto more so than just Bitcoin. And it gets even better if you type in, hit the cap lock there. If you type in altcoin, look what we have going on. Google predicting an all-time high coming for the search term altcoin. Go ahead and go, or bring my face back on the screen here, Smay. This is Google predicting. That's what those key dotted lines are doing, predicting that the search terms for altcoins are going to go through the roof. We could spend a lot of time here and look at individual coins like Ethereum, like Chainlink, like Cardano, like XRP, and we're going to find a lot of the same results. At the end of the day, Google is predicting that we are heading into altcoin season. Let me know in chat, do you agree? Do you disagree? What is your call about that? In a nutshell, though, we got a lot of things to cover here in our market updates as Bitcoin is back not only above $120,000, it's back above $121,000. We talked about this last week, right? We had a daily sell signal on the Lux Algo charts that gave us a pullback calling for at least back down here towards 112. We kissed it, but we are in the process right now, ladies and gentlemen, of canceling that bigger concern we had. Again, last week we talked about the weekly sell signal, red reversals, bearish divergence, bearish momentum, negative money flow. But guess what's happening with this recent rally? A green dot is back on the charts. If we close this week with that green dot, we very well might find ourselves canceling out this bearish sell signal from Bitcoin. You even see money flow starting to curve a little bit there on the Lux Algo oscillators. This is a very good sign. What does it mean? Well, it would mean that we've had the highest weekly close for Bitcoin in its history, but more than likely, we're heading up to the next key level of resistance for Bitcoin. You might be asking, where would that be? One of the best tools to use when you're in what's called price discovery mode, meaning we've never seen Bitcoin at these prices before. So what are the levels that people are going to look for resistance? I love using Fibonacci extension. Use the Fibonacci tool, go from a recent high back here in January to the low in April. And there's going to be 2 points I'm going to keep an eye on. Some people are going to stay here around 127, 130 range, around the 1.386, but I would not be surprised if Bitcoin starts rallying up higher towards the golden pocket extension, and that's going to be up here, ladies and gentlemen, towards $140,000. That is what Fibonacci extension is telling us right now. This is a top end of the cloud on the weekly chart. So we start to stretch that cloud very similarly to how we stretched it back here in November. This 140,000 is very, very easy. I don't think the bull market would end at that point. That's simply the next level to keep an eye on as Bitcoin is breaking back out of a consolidation phase. Let me turn some noise off here, and let's get the Lux Algo oscillator off here as well. We have a nice rally here back in November. Consolidate. Actually, a big consolidation. Big rally here in April and May. Consolidate throughout June. Big rally here at the end of June into July. We've now consolidated. It's now time. It's looking like for the next big leg up. Look between that 130 to 140 zone as targets to watch for the next consolidation zone on Bitcoin. Another thing I want to make sure we're stressing here and looking at is we told you this last week when we talked about the potential weekly sell signal and a pullback coming back down, even all the way back down towards $100,000. We said there's one indicator that would suggest that's not going to happen. And at this point, it's looking like this indicator is winning over that weekly sell signal. This indicator I'm talking about, the global M2 money supply. I've seen a lot of posts recently about the US dollar global supply hitting new highs even this recent week. I'm a bigger fan of following and tracking Bitcoin next to the global M2 money supply. And what we're watching right now is there definitely is a high coming in at the end of September that if we follow it to a T like we have been doing for quite some time, you're going to see Bitcoin likes to track behind M2 money supply by about 90 days. M2 money supply has been falling back here more recently, suggesting that there might be a good sell-off. I'm trying to manipulate this chart to make it look better. Excuse me, guys. There might be a good sell-off coming here in the end of September. Now, there's a little bounce coming back in after dropping here a little bit. It's suggesting that potentially an October 22nd bottom could happen. The question is going to be, do we put lower highs and lower lows in, and does M2 money supply come down, suggesting that September might be the bull market top? Or, and this is what I think, again, I'm not 100% certain on this. I can't promise you this. It's simply what I'm going to predict to happen. I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Right all the time, but I'm also wrong all the time. I think we're going to see a new higher high come in. I think that what we're going to see happen in September as we get to that 4-year cycle top zone, I think a lot of retail is going to sell off. Even M2 Money Supply is suggesting we should have a small sell-off. I think a lot of altcoins, people probably should be taking profit on some altcoins at the end of September and looking for 30, 40, 50% corrections to buy back in some dips. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised as we watch this next couple of weeks if M2 Money Supply starts to get back up to new all-time highs. And what we end up seeing later this fall is a local top in September, probably pretty similar to maybe what we saw happen here in January of 2025. Maybe even very similar to something we saw happen back in March of March of 2024. Like, could we start a series and maybe a month at least, if not 2 or 3 months of consolidation? Absolutely we can. But watching this M2 Money Supply, this blue line here, we're going to start to track, hey, is September a long-term take profit, or is it a take profit zone for the purpose of buying dips because the bull market will continue? Again, if you also want to track the theory of altcoin seasons happening, altcoin season does not happen a month and a half before the top of the bull market. Normally, it's actually closer to almost a year before the end of the bull market. So we're looking at next summer being the top if that continuation happens. I digress, though, because I think we're ultimately getting into a zone where we no longer are following cycles like that, the 4-year cycle, the crypto cycles. I think we're going to be following a lot more of adoption into institutions. I think we're following a lot more, how is the economy performing overall? I think the economy is heading for good things, great things. I don't think we're heading for a recession. Recession, in my personal opinion, is the next big bear market for cryptocurrencies. But that is all something we will continue to track. Bitcoin, literally, maybe while we're live on the show, is back above 122,000. We're about $44 away, now $60 away from 122,000. Let's look at some other things that are important to track. Speaking of altcoin season, we're continuing to watch the Bitcoin dominance chart plummet. Again, Bitcoin back up above 121,000, and yet Bitcoin dominance is below 60%. You know what that's the number one sign of? That's the number one sign of altcoin season, ladies and gentlemen. That means altcoins are outperforming it. Even though Bitcoin is rallying, altcoins are gaining more money than Bitcoin in their market caps. Our short-term target at 58%, we are very much on the way to hitting that. Longer-term target, I've told you guys before, don't be surprised to see this Bitcoin dominance chart have some volatility, put some lower highs and lower lows in. I still think it's reasonable, though, to suspect that Bitcoin's going to find itself down in this blue box somewhere. High end around 50% dominance, low end closer to 45. I don't think we're going to match the lows from back in 2021, 2022, when we got all the way down here below 40%. I think Bitcoin is a little bit more mature than that. I think this is a cycle where, as exciting as altcoins and crypto is, I think the excitement of changing our form of money and our form of value into Bitcoin trumps that, and Bitcoin maintains a higher Bitcoin dominance than before. You also would see that the trend would kind of be in line here. If I go to the weekly chart, our lowest Bitcoin dominance actually came way back here in December of 17, right? So the bull market top of 17, we came all the way down to 35. Then in 21, we only came here to 40. So again, the idea of having a higher Bitcoin dominance tracks even with historic patterns here as we're looking at. So Bitcoin, long way to go down in Bitcoin dominance, but I don't think it's there just yet. We got a lot further to go down. Altcoin season, again, just starting, not at the peak whatsoever. Let's keep going on and take a look. And I told you guys before, we're going to look at a lot of altcoins today. And I'm going to tell you later, like literally right after this, I'm going to talk to Shrum for a little bit, but we're going to go through 8 altcoins that have had a very impressive run this week. And I'm going to go ahead and exclude Ethereum because Ethereum, I'm going to put in a world of its own. We have to get Ethereum pumps to happen before altcoins pumps happen, but that doesn't mean that we haven't had some altcoins going berserk. There's 8 altcoins that have performed amazing this last week, and there's another 8 that even though they've pumped a little bit, I'm sitting here saying these are the ones that I actually am probably looking to deploy some more money in because they are amazing fundamentally and have great futures, but haven't gotten the excitement that some others have gotten. Those might be the best bang for your bucks, best ROI for investing here in the next week and some change. Stick around for that conversation. Ethereum, though, definitely now breaking and smashing highs here. This was a big, big deal to break above this resistance level we've been plagued with all of 2024 and all of 2025. Ethereum finally making some moves we haven't seen in years. We are dangerously close, though. You guys see this yellow line here? This yellow line right above is the all-time high that we set back in November of 2021. You can see we are very close to breaking that. At the time we're recording this live stream, we're at $4,723, which would imply we only need to go about another 3% before Ethereum is at all-time highs, and everyone and anyone who's ever invested in Ethereum will be in profit. That is something that will make a lot of people excited, because Ethereum was a coin, listen, a lot of people were giving up on. A lot of people said ETH would die and not make it. ETH's still doing its thing, and ETH is bringing in the altcoin season as it always has. I'm still excited about this. Another thing that was brought to my attention from one of our pro traders in our group is do not miss out on, where did he go with this one, though? Like, how low did he go? There's a head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulders pattern. Oh, there we go, right here. There's a miniature inverse head and shoulders pattern. I don't know why I blanked on that one. In play here on Ethereum. Although I will say his picture was better than mine. I'm going to have to go back and look at it. Big moves, though, for ETH. It would confirm what he was showing me. It would make Ethereum break to new all-time highs in the very, very near future, next couple of days here. Let's take a quick look at what we have on the longer time frames with ETH, where once again, there is a danger temporarily of a red reversal bearish momentum and maybe negative money flow on ETH's weekly chart. That's gone. That is gone right now. Oh, Rufio's in chat. He's saying 5-minute chart. We're not going to go all the way to the 5-minute chart. But just, traders out there, ETH has an inverse head and shoulders pattern. You do not want to ignore that whatsoever. Speaking of, Rufio's going to be live trading in our paid Discord, our VIP trading group. I'll tell you more about it later, right after this live show. So if you want to learn to trade more and you want to see how to make some money, even on the quick end, next couple of hours, not a better place than the VIP trading group here at the Tim Warren Trading Group. Green dot and positive money flow coming in here on ETH. This is going to be something that absolutely you should be watching for us to stretch this red cloud once again. ETH really hasn't gotten to do this, right? It stretched it a little bit back here in March of 2024, but you can go back and look at altcoin seasons. When ETH gets running, look at what it did back here in November, December of 2020, when it stretched this red cloud and took it from prices around $500 all the way up. Before the big correction, it would go all the way to $4,200, stretching that red cloud. So some people are going to say, Tim, should we take some profits here? Feel free to take some profits, but don't be surprised if ETH does another thing. I'm not predicting another, massive rally like that. I do think, though, it's still possible for ETH to start pushing closer towards 10,000 before the end of the year. Will it get there? Not quite sure yet, but I think it could press for it. But in 2026, I still believe we're going a lot higher. 15,000, not a ridiculous prediction for ETH before this bull market said and done. Last two charts I'm going to look at for market open before we get into altcoins as a whole. The stock market doing a beautiful thing here. Same thing going on where we're in this resistance cloud. We were in danger of a weekly sell signal, but just like Bitcoin and Ethereum, that green dot and positive money flow coming in, kind of looking to cancel out that weekly chart. Right when everyone tells you things have to correct. And that's what a lot of people were saying. The stock market's at an all-time high. We technically have some slight bearish divergence. We have to correct, right? Well, I'm not saying a correction won't come for Bitcoin and Ethereum and for the stock market at some point. But that day is not today, it looks like. This very much looks like a chart that wants to continue to build and build and build up. Am I saying to load up a lot on the S&P 500 right here at this level? Maybe not. I think it's a lot better if you were listening to us back here in March, loading up on these massive dips where we actually highlighted the very bottom at 4,800. You should have bought back then. But I think we still have a little more stretch to the upside before a correction comes in. And corrections are needed. Corrections do happen. But that correction won't be a bear market. That correction probably will not see another 20-something% dip in the S&P 500. We're probably looking more like a 5% to maybe worst case scenario 10% dip. And then that'll be the end. And the S&P 500 will go to new highs once again. Last thing here, I want to start adding this as well. Let's keep an eye on the Dixie. Right, as crypto and the stock market are trending up, the Dixie once again is trending down. That's exactly where we want to see it. It's going to be very important right now. After the Dixie bounced on a key trend line, a trend line that came back to the highs of March of 2020, right before that would be right before COVID, by the way. And then you see this trend of support happening. We came back up, bounced off of some resistance back around $100, and now we're trending back down. Is the Dixie going to keep falling? One of the biggest things that could help crypto and altcoin season and all these things we're watching, let's get the Dixie to drop back below $96, lose this support level, and all of a sudden, as that dollar disintegrates and falls, it's not going to be good for maybe some of your family members that are not in crypto, but for all of you who are smart enough to say, you know what, I don't believe in the dollar, I believe in cryptocurrency, I believe in Bitcoin, I believe in Ethereum, and I believe in Chainlink, you will be happily and healthily rewarded as that Dixie crumbles and collapses. And again, turning former support into resistance, a major, major bearish thing. But in this case, we want the Dixie to be bearish so that our altcoins and our crypto portfolios shoot to the moon. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to get some water. Let's go split screen with Shrum, and we're about to get into some altcoin conversation. But Shrum, how are you feeling right now about these markets overall? Anything you're keeping your eyes on that I didn't really go through on this market update here today?
Yeah, it's interesting. This is kind of the part of the market where, we start to talk about things like ignoring topping signals in like the MACD or the oscillator matrix, anything that's showing like overbought. Sometimes you have to ignore it in crypto because of how volatile things can get to the upside. Another thing to consider is, a lot of times you want to buy low and sell high, right? This is the part of the market where if you're willing to continue to take on additional risk, right, you may not be able to wait for a pullback in names like Ethereum. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that we're not going to pull back, right? That would be very silly to say because I don't have a crystal ball. There's no way I can know that. But sometimes, especially if Ethereum gets up above an all-time high, there's not going to be a pullback before it goes higher. Now, again, it definitely could happen, but don't expect there to be a pullback even at levels of resistance that usually there would be a pullback, because you have to remember the retail space until now, a little bit in late February 2025. Retail really hasn't shown up except for in very small pockets of time. Now it seems like that big flood of retail could be coming in as CNBC, Bloomberg, the Twitterverse, the Facebook, folks on there, as they start to really shake the trees and show actual prices on the charts going up and to the right, right? That is going to motivate a lot of people to maybe not put in $400 million worth of crypto, but 6,000, 10,000, 2,000, and all of that multiplies together because there's millions of people around the world with a couple thousand to spare. That's what's going to push these altcoin prices higher, and that's what's going to produce fewer and fewer pullbacks before prices go up. So when you take profits, be quick to reallocate. Again, not financial advice, but this is just what I'm doing, how I'm thinking. Be quick to reallocate, and just don't expect huge pullbacks to be coming. Not to say that they can't happen.
Yeah, I think everything you said is great advice. And that's something we preach very heavily here in this community. We preach very heavily. Listen, can you make a lot of money? Yes, you can. Should you have a certain percentage of your portfolio that you're just not touching for a long time and you're going to ride the volatility? Absolutely. But you always need to be prepared. In bull trends and bull markets, there are pullbacks. Pullbacks happen. And in crypto, by the way, it's not an abnormal Tuesday for an altcoin to pull back 50% and still be in a bull market. So the concept of preparing yourself and being ready to take profits and capitalize on gains is very important. I'm going to throw a small wrench into the system, though, right? Because if you go back, go on my screen here, Smay. If you go back to the last time that we think that the market's going to look a lot like this, we're talking about the end of 2020 into 2021. I was early into crypto investing at this point. Shrum at this point was a stock investor. He wasn't in the world of crypto. But I listened and I watched and I paid attention to people way smarter than me, the people that trained me and taught me the ropes of crypto investing. And I remember these dates in November and December and even into January saying, all right, we're really high. We're going to have a pullback. We're going to have a pullback. Oh, we just went a lot higher. Okay, well, we're going to have a pullback. Oh, we just went higher. Oh, we're going to have a pullback. We have a lot higher. And then you get here in January, and Bitcoin, of course, has itself a nice little 30% correction as altcoin season started, right? And you would think, well, if Bitcoin's pulling back in January, we should probably take some profits on all altcoins as well, right? Well, that's not necessarily the case, because even though I'm not going to go through every single chart, if you remember what happened in January of 2021, all of my OGs out there, altcoins went parabolic, a concept of almost like it didn't even make sense how high and how fast they were rallying. I want to prepare you. We could be entering that phase. We could be entering the phase we went through back at the end of 2020, early 2021, where the rallies and the green candles made almost no sense, where traders, conservative traders, were probably frustrated and slightly getting wrecked because they were looking for places of resistance to not just take profit, maybe find a short or two. I don't know if this is the strongest season right now to be looking for shorts if we're trading out there. And if you're in the VIP trading group, again, we got some expert traders over there. You do not want to miss out on them. We are making money every single day. They find ways to make money even with shorts, but I'll tell you right now, I have kind of gotten out of short zone. I'm not really looking at shorts. If I start to see pullbacks, I'm looking at support levels to put more money into long positions because that is the cycle in the season we are in right now. It is majorly bullish. Now, real quick, I want to, before we move into altcoins, because we are transitioning into altcoins, I'm going to cover 8 altcoins that had an amazing rally this week, not including Ethereum. We already talked about Ethereum, so no one get in chat and say, Tim, what about Ethereum? Ethereum's doing awesome. It's leading the altcoin season. We're talking about altcoins that are not called Ethereum that are doing quite well. You guys keep me posted here. We might see new all-time highs for a couple of these coins while we are live here. So Bitcoin, right now, I told you during the show, we're probably get over 122,000. We're at 122, almost 5, right? For a new all-time high, technically, let's get a line here. We need to see Bitcoin get back above that blue wick around 123,248, give or take, okay? Somebody in chat, let me know if Bitcoin does that while I am speaking. By the way, keep an eye over here on Ethereum at 4740. If that gets over 48.69, Ethereum has officially hit a new all-time high. We want to watch that happen if it's getting close. So chat, keep me in line there. Shrum, keep your eyes on those charts. Let me know if all-time highs do happen. With that said, I want to get into these coins and start off with 8 altcoins that has had phenomenal week so far, even though we're kind of on the fringe of altcoin season. Let's start off here with good old Chainlink. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be putting out a fresh Chainlink price prediction video. You know, a lot of people have been, some people have been quiet, other people have been loud. Some of you remember over 2 years ago, I told people Chainlink could go berserk with massive upside potential of over 700 in this bull market. But more realistically, somewhere in the world of 300. People have been calling me crazy for over 2 years now, saying I'm delusional. Well, this week, I don't think I'm even the most delusional Chainlink analyst out there. In fact, I think a lot of my predictions look mild compared to where the community has been going with Chainlink. But overall, people have been asking, Tim, what was your prediction again? What's your thought process? What's going on with Link? So look forward to that tomorrow. I'm not going to do a lot of in-depth TA right here. But Chainlink has been performing very well here. You know, in the last couple of days, let's go, not just in the last week, let's go back to August 3rd, which is technically a little more than a week ago. But Link has been doing phenomenal. It's up over 50% since August 3rd. And by the way, I don't think it's stopping, but I'm going to continue to hold off on any in-depth technical analysis here on Chainlink. If you want to do some Chainlink TA with some of our traders, again, Rufio's live right after the show. Join that VIP trading group. I'll tell you more about it later. But Link doing very well, up over 55% here in the last week and some change. Another coin doing very well, and we bought it perfectly over here. Some of you remember we had a zone for Uni to come down to $8.70. Uni has been popping off here with a recent higher high here in price action. Uniswap, so many reasons to be bullish on it, but it's up over 40% here in the last week. By the way, before I continue here, the point of this is not to say, all right, go out and short these coins or these coins are going to stop. I want to tell you these coins and how hot they are right now and how fast they're rallying, because that means that these coins have clear adoption for the future. People are choosing these coins saying, I love these coins, and they're investing their money into them. Don't miss out. Don't be afraid of going in even at higher prices here, because again, when altcoin season gets going, these coins that have been picked as winners will probably keep on flying. You do have Uniswap probably coming towards a weekly temporary resistance level here, closer towards $13. So be aware, be vigilant there. But even that, you know, as you get to this resistance level, we're putting in new green dots on the weekly Lux Algo chart. That could be something to keep an eye on. And I can't do in-depth TA on all these coins. I have 16 charts we're about to take a look at. So forgive me, guys, if I don't go in-depth on every single coin here. But since I'm already doing it, on Uniswap, what I'm watching here is we're getting up into the platinum pocket. Keep an eye around $13. There could be, at worst, a pullback that comes back down, and I keep an eye back around 990 in that golden pocket zone. But I think realistically, don't be surprised if you see a little bit of consolidation Uniswap up here towards 13 before continuing to the upside. And, I got targets up here. If you're trading it, I wouldn't be surprised to see targets up towards $60 over the rest of this year for Uniswap. I'm not going to do that in-depth TA on everything because, again, that's going to take me quite some time. But Uniswap has looked very impressive over the last week and some change. Another coin, I hope you guys bought this. We actually, I feel bad. And our VIP trading group heard about this. So I've been talking about Aerodrome for multiple weeks now, right? We've been talking about it for quite some time. But last Thursday, we were supposed to shoot that Aerodrome video that went out yesterday. We were supposed to shoot that video and have it out on Saturday. I wish we could have done that. If you guys had seen that video Saturday, where was the price of Aerodrome Saturday on the 7th? Where am I on the? No, let's go to the daily chart here. Sorry, looking at the wrong time. August 7th. August 7th, I was supposed to record this video. You guys would have seen it more like the 8th or the 9th. You would have seen it back around $1. I was supposed to record it here at 77 cents. You would have seen it around $1. I wish I could have done it. You might be saying, Tim, why didn't you put the video out? Well, for those who don't know, my wife had our second child on Thursday morning, and I kind of said, let's take the weekend and we'll regroup, right? But we put this video out yesterday, and it has flown even since this video came out. Again, we had it out around $1.13, $1.12 yesterday. It is up now at $1.38. It's been up to $1.43. So just since the video went out, we have seen an increase in price action around 24%. But if you had talked about this in our VIP trading group back here a week and some change ago, we're up 90% since back here in early August. When we first started talking about buying into it way back here, we were looking back at the bottoms in April, and you're seeing here, you're already up on Aerodrome. Oh, what is this even going to come out to? 386%, very far from being done on Aerodrome. Is there some weekly, resistance in play? Potentially. Don't be surprised there's some consolidation, but if we break through that, holy cow, we might be seeing new all-time highs in Aerodrome up above $2.40 very, very soon. By the way, if you don't know what I am talking about, the video went out yesterday. Coin that I'm buying right now before it's too late, pretty much. I can't remember the exact title. It's all about Aerodrome. I give some predictions on where I think a reasonable price prediction long-term is for it. Do not miss out that video. Go watch it after this. Let's do some speed round stuff, some other stuff that's been happening here. Let me go back to the daily chart here. Another big coin, and this one we don't talk about a whole lot, but ENA, Athena. Now, our community talks about it all the time. We haven't mentioned it too much on the YouTube channel. You will see me talk about some more coins from time to time that I don't talk about all the time. I like my portfolio. Athena's not in my portfolio at the moment. It's one I probably should put into my portfolio with this kind of run here. On Coinbase, it's done nothing but go up here, but great returns on your investment here with Athena. Again, going back a little bit over a week ago, Athena is up over 60-something%. So great rallies here for Athena. It's been happening. What was I saying? Could we consolidate? Could we pull back? Absolutely. But clearly, there's a lot of people that love this project and are investing into it. Another coin that this one don't have plans to own long-term, but you got to give it its flowers. Aerodrome's going to be special because I think Aerodrome's going to be serving and benefiting from Base as the number one layer 2 solution for Ethereum. But that doesn't mean that the other layer 2s are going to lay down and die and not do anything. And Arbitrum has popped off. Optimism did well too, but that didn't make my list. Arbitrum, massive, massive bullish candle here even today, dating back to, again, about a week and some change ago. Arbitrum is up 50-something%. So hats off to anyone who's been owning and running with Arbitrum. Clearly, as we're watching the emergence of Ethereum, the layer 2s are perking up. And again, I'm gonna give Aerodrome the credit as the number one layer 2 effectively for ETH. But that doesn't mean Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon can't do well as well. But Arbitrum kind of leading that one. Let's do some speed round stuff. Lido. This is a coin that Crux has been talking about a whole lot. We've talked about this in our community. We've talked about it a little bit more in the last couple of weeks. It has been up pretty significantly here. You're looking at this, an 84% rally for Lido. Again, another one. Don't be surprised. Not at all. If we start as we're getting some resistance, if there's a little correction or consolidation, but it's had an amazing week here. Last two here, Ray. Ray is another one, which I think we're going to make a video in next week. We're going to put it out this week, but we need to save for next week. Ray and Lido, two coins, look very good for trading over the next couple of weeks. Kind of spoiled the video for you there, but we got Ray doing very, very well here. Again, in the last week and some change, this coin's up over 50%. And the last one, the biggest one of them all. Now, it's correcting right now. But look at that candle on that daily chart. The fact is, you don't even want to say the last week, right? It's really been the last day. OKB has gone berserk. In fact, even though it's correcting, OKB at one point today was up 378% by itself in one day. It's still up 121%, but that's berserk. The reason for that is we did some research on, in case you didn't hear, OKB, which of course is the token for the OKX exchange, they burned about 7.6 million tokens. So they're burning, they're lowering their supply. This caused a big excitement. So not only do you see more people buy because of the excitement, just the simple burning of tokens, you're lowering the supply. Simple economics means price goes up. I wouldn't be touching this necessarily right now. Let's let the dust settle on OKB before we're adding into it. But that's the reason why it's had a very impressive, let's not even say last week. It's been the last day. It's been very impressive. Jumped up to as high as I think at one point today it was almost in the top 20 cryptocurrencies, which is very impressive. If I were to go take a look at that right now, what is it at right now? Coin market cap. I saw it at 25 earlier when I was checking it out. Yeah, it's still at number 25. And again, I think it was up here closer towards 22, 21 earlier today. So OKB, what a run. What a day. Put a 1 in chat if you guys held OKB and took some profits today. You would have been a very wealthy person. We're going to take a small break right there. What did I just go through? I just went through 8 tokens, 8 coins, 8 altcoins that are showing the early signs that clearly, as altcoin season is getting going, people love these coins. So I hope no one is listening to this and saying, well, Tim just said those coins pumped before, and he's about to tell us about coins that we're going to pump next, so therefore we should sell all of our top 8 coins he just went through and go put them in the bottom 8. That's not what I'm saying. There are people out there that like to buy winners. These 8 coins are winners. These 8 coins this week told me that as this altcoin season is heating up, people love these projects, and there's still a lot of money to be made in them, okay? But what I'm about to tell you about, this is the one that intrigues me more. I like to put my money into things that I know are promising, but haven't necessarily had a big move yet, right? These next 8 coins are coins that I'm very bullish on. I think I'm going to do phenomenal in this bull market. And yes, they've rallied over the last week and some change, but they haven't necessarily popped off like these first 8 have. Let's go through that list. If you're ready, smash that like button. Starting off with coin number 1, Ondo. Ondo is a coin that some people I've gotten messages recently saying, Tim, are you giving up on Ondo? Heck no, I'm not giving up on Ondo. As we're about to enter into the bull market where real world asset play is critical, where institutions and large banks and companies will be putting their assets on exchange and turning them into real world assets. There's not a better thing out there than Ondo that'll benefit from that emergence. Now, is Ondo pumping yet? No, it's not. Some people get discouraged. I say, man, there's a massive opportunity. Thank God, as I continue to build up some dry powder, I can still buy Ondo just around $1 per coin. When you zoom out here and you look at it, we got a lot of room to the upside. We've just broken here more recently out of a longer-term falling wedge pattern. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a pattern that if we get the fullness of it, and again, I think as we've now come back down, pretty much turned resistance into support, we're talking about a pullback in the short term all the way back up to $2. Once we hit that, we're talking about breaking new all-time highs, and I still think Ondo, guys, has a long, long road to the upside. But do not be surprised if Ondo in the next couple of weeks has a nice rally. One of the reasons I even say this is because there's been times in the past, again, I have 7 more coins to go through here, but I want to clarify, I'm doing teaching moment. People in the past have told me, Tim, this coin hasn't done anything for me lately. Should I sell out of it? What should I buy instead? This is not a good method necessarily of investing advice. I'm not saying you shouldn't from time to time take money out of something that's not doing a lot for you and move it into a better project. but you should definitely be thinking about the long-term future of coins. For example, we talked earlier in the video about Chainlink. You're not going to find a single person right now looking at this chart saying Chainlink sucks. That's not necessarily the case a couple of weeks ago. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, I was getting questions saying, Tim, have you given up on Chainlink? Should we get out of it? What should we move our money into? That was a dumb question at the time, because if you were just patient, you would embrace this entire rally. Same thing happened with XRP. I'm not going to go to that chart because it's not on this playlist right here, but I remember when we told people for the longest time, guys, XRP is going to pop off. We just don't know when. People told us it was dead. It was not going to make it. We're going to talk more about XRP later in the video, actually. XRP would go from 50 cents all the way over $2 in about a week and a half. You never know when things with strong fundamentals are going to pop off. And these coins I'm going through, starting off with Ondo, we are talking about ridiculously strong fundamentals that have not put in recent highs here. We haven't gotten in higher than July. They still have massive, massive, massive potential to the upside. Thank you in chat. Keep me posted. If Bitcoin hits new all-time highs or ETH hits new all-time highs, let me know. We'll take a brief break in our analysis and keep going on there. But I want to start off with Ondo. Coin number 2. This one actually is doing quite well today. It's up 5%, but we still have room to the upside. That is Cardano, right? Cardano here. Long-term descending triangle. These actually can tend to break to the downside here. But you can see after having a positive breakout back in July, Cardano rallied here almost back to $1 and then pulled back, testing that former resistance, turning into support. What does this mean? Well, in the short term, while I'm very bullish on Cardano making price levels of up to $7 to $10, even in the short term, we got realistic targets back up above $1, pushing closer towards $2, around $1.85. And Cardano, again, not higher than it was in July. This is a coin, if you follow the history of Cardano, yeah, a lot of people love to hate on it. But once it gets moving, the bears get their mouths shut fast. Cardano community and Cardano whales can act very fast. This is another coin that I think the fact that we still are below $1 is a gift and it's an opportunity that people should be taking advantage of. Sui is another coin that I think has massive upside potential. Once again, long-term major bullish formation. Breakout happened. We retest resistance and support. We got long-term targets on this one all the way up here towards $40 here for Sui. And yet Sui, again, not higher than it was back in July, kind of just fumbling along, hasn't gotten that big bid. But this is one of the most exciting layer one solutions left out there. Sui is another coin that, again, opportunity is a knockin'. Don't miss out on it. How about AVAX? AVAX here in a W formation pattern with targets up to $49 or $50. And then after that, when we break a longer term resistance level, we're talking about moves all the way up above 155 on AVAX. And yet the price is still hovering down here below resistance at 25.25. Don't miss it. AVAX, not only a layer one solution, it's also in that real world asset play. And it's got exciting stuff, exciting partnerships. AVAX still has a great opportunity. Next up, we got HBAR. I got to speed up a little bit because we got a lot more discussion on the show. HBAR currently consolidating, not doing anything special, but it's consolidating within what we call a bull pennant pattern. These have targets to the upside, with HBAR trade potentially looking up at 53 cents in the next couple of weeks. Massive opportunity there at HBAR. Love this coin long term. BitTensor Tau, the number one AI play out there. Again, Shrum and I have talked about this a good amount. We like AI long term, but AI crypto at the moment is concerning. You just don't know what to do with it necessarily. The only exception with that is Tau. Tau is one that I'm very excited about. It's got a little bull pennant of its own, a little triangle forming after explosive movement. Don't be surprised for Tau to make an explosive move up here, almost to $1,000. By the way, that'll be a new all-time high here with that bull pennant pattern happening. Keep moving on to a coin that people have been asking me a lot about, Caspa, forming a little symmetrical triangle pattern. Even though technically we have descending price action coming in, I'm going to say this is one I predict to break to the upside. Yes, we're consolidating. Yes, moving sideways. But ultimately, these are the types of moves, and we get a positive break to the upside. You're looking at Caspa go to new all-time highs up around 26 cents. A lot of room there, even if you're just trading it short term. And then our final coin. Again, I sped round those last couple. We got to go to Plume. One of my new favorites. This is one of my new risky degen plays. Plume, even today, testing some major resistance. But this resistance, guys, if it starts to break and go to the upside, Plume, one of the only 5 cryptos mentioned in the digital asset report by the U.S. government. Target symbols, trading symbols here, 31 cents. We're currently trading at 10 cents. Again, I think Plume goes a lot higher. I told you guys this is one of the coins out there I think still has 50x potential left in it. And it's kind of just hovering down here on 10 cents. Opportunity is what I call it. I'm not saying Plume is done. I don't think Plume is a killed project because it hasn't rallied too much this week. This coin is an opportunity. You guys want to go back and follow that list. I think all those. If you messaged me tomorrow and said, Tim, do you think Ondo's a good buy or Cardano's a good buy or HBAR's a good buy? I'll just let you guys know those 8 coins I just went through. I would not have a fuss with anybody who is buying those tokens at the moment for long-term gains. All right. What is Plume's narrative? It's another real-world asset play. It's a, we have to go back and look at the video. I'm not off the top of my head going to give you the greatest specifics of all the fundamentals. But again, what you should know is there's a lot of promise and belief in it from people with a lot of money. And I like to buy things that I like to buy things that people with a lot of money like to buy. That's a little bit of investment. Not that I'm a financial advisor, but unfinancial advice, financial advice, buy things that people with a lot of money like to buy. And you really can't go wrong here. Let's take a quick look, Shrum, before we go into some conversations here. Let's go back. How is our charts looking over here with Bitcoin? Yeah, 122.5. So we still got some room to go there. ETH, little consolidation, 47.15. So we'll keep an eye on those as it's going on. Let's go off my screen, though. Tell me what you think, Shrum, of the list we talked about. Any coins out there? I'm very aware. I only talked about 16 altcoins. There's other altcoins that are doing very well right now, and there's other altcoins that have amazing potential that aren't popping off yet but will. Those are simply my 16 coins that I'm looking at and saying, hey, watch these. These are 8 winners. These are 8 things that have amazing opportunity. Any other coin that you're looking at that you say, hey, I'd throw into that pile as well?
Oh man, I think you covered them pretty well. I'm trying to think here.
I missed one. I missed one that's doing well. I forgot Uniswap.
Uni's is in your 8 impressive alt runs this week.
Yeah, it is. I think I missed the chart on it though. Was my only problem.
Yeah, the one I would add to that is Aave. I think Aave has done well and will continue to do well. Yeah, for sure.
That was like what Aave was one like in the middle for me. It was almost like it's doing well this week, but it wasn't doing as well as these other 8. But it wasn't bad to me to say like, oh, there's an amazing opportunity for Aave. Aave is like right there in that sweet middle zone. I absolutely would say Aave is another good suggestion there as well. Oh, I did. Someone said I did show Uni. Okay, my memory is bad, I guess. I've been watching Nemo with Brody, so maybe I'm turning into Dory or something.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Yeah. All right. Well, I knew that was going to take a while, right? So we purposely did not put a lot of planning into the show here today because it's already 3:47. Right after this, you got to make sure you stick around. There is a video coming out from Crux of Crypto. Again, one of our sister channels here, brother channels, bros channels. Shout out to the old name. He has a video coming out, Bitcoin versus Kaspa. You don't want to miss it. If you're a Kaspa fan, you do not want to miss that video. It's going to be a banger. It's coming out right after the show. So let's speed this up a little bit so that we can get into that conversation. You know what we're going to do here? We're going to skip, excuse me, a little hiccup right there. We're going to skip discussion number 3, Shrum. I'll tell you guys what it is. We'll talk about this on Friday because it'll still be relevant on Friday. 50 basis points. Will they happen in September? We got a long time to get there. There's been some rumblings happening, even some prediction charts starting to flip. Come back on Friday. We will discuss the probability and possibility of a 50 basis point cut. But let's kind of get into a bigger, more chaotic topic on the back half of the show here, back quarter of the show here. I've seen a lot of rumblings on X in the last couple of days, and I think we really need to address some things happening because we're right there square in the middle of it. And the rumblings are coming from this emergence of Chainlink. Chainlink has been doing phenomenal, right? But I'm seeing some things online, and I want Shrum to kind of break down the drama of what's going on. But ultimately, if you guys haven't seen this, I'll let you know, there's a lot of chaos and fighting and bickering happening between the Link community and the Link Marines and the XRP army. A lot of people saying Chainlink is about to render XRP completely useless. It's going to remove it, and XRP is going to fall down the list, and Chainlink is going to skyrocket up into that number 3 spot. Shrum, before we give our takes on it, can you give us a little breakdown? What's going on here in this argument? What's causing Chainlink users and fans to go against XRP? And then let's get into the details. What is the real difference? Because people need to know, what is the difference between Chainlink and XRP, and can they coexist?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Smay, if you'll start on my screen, I'll give you all a little bit of context of what's going on here. This account called the Link Panda, the Crypto Panda. I'm sure they do good analysis at some point, but they've made an AI video about Link and XRP. It's gotten 88,000 views. So chances are, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, you've probably seen this, or you'll see this later today. You can go off my screen now, but I'm going to explain to you why it's an overstatement to say that Chainlink is eating Ripple XRP. The first thing is that the team has not said anything about Chainlink becoming a cross-border payment provider. That's just not what they've talked about. What they have talked about is producing data integrity and interoperability for the movement of cryptos across borders. So are they going to enable cross-chain payments? Absolutely. Are they going to facilitate those transactions and that cross-border payment? No. Right? That's the difference between XRP and Chainlink. Chainlink is going to be there and guarantee the integrity of the information that's being sent and the interoperability with other chains, and also facilitate connections to smart contracts from other chains as well. It's kind of the interoperability play. If any coins were going to be replaced by Chainlink, it would be Polkadot and Atom Cosmos, right? Those were the interoperability narratives from past cycles. Are they completely gone? Are they completely worthless? No, I don't. And, I think there's still some arguments to be made there.
I'll chime in. I do think DOT. That is one of our dead. I think DOT is a dead project, and I've talked about it on the show before. So I want to chime in there and say I'm not expecting DOT to rival anybody for anything unless it's the bottom of the list. That's where I expect them to rival. But continue. Great points so far.
No, I appreciate you jumping in there. So with this viral video is comparing Chainlink to XRP and saying XRP is being replaced. I think what it should have made the video about is Chainlink replacing Cosmos and Polkadot, because that's a much more accurate one-to-one phenomenon that we've actually observed in the crypto industry here over the last 6 to 12 months. So with that said, the team has not signaled that this is their vision for Chainlink to even be the cross-border payment solution. And they have done extensive work on staying locked in, staying focused on what they have casted a vision for, which is for Chainlink to be the dominant oracle and to enable cross-border transactions and other blockchains to be able to communicate with each other, and for smart contracts to be able to communicate with each other and ultimately provide the best experience and the most valid and accurate experience for folks who are going to be building on blockchain and also using the end user and lending and doing everything that you can do in the beautiful world of DeFi. So that's my take on it. I think it's very ridiculous to think that Chainlink is going to subsume or replace XRP. I think folks maybe can get it twisted a little bit if they're slightly uneducated on what the difference between these projects are. But I'm here to tell you that's not what's going to happen. It's not what is happening. And it's not just me saying that. It's also the Chainlink team. And just to put a nail in the coffin, if you go over to my screen here, I've got a tweet from January of 2025 where Ripple posted a tweet saying Ripple and Chainlink, RLUSD has adopted the Chainlink standard for verifiable data to fuel DeFi adoption with real-time secure pricing data. The future of stablecoins is here. So, Tim, if Coca-Cola, if Coca-Cola was like, all right, we're gonna compete with Pepsi, and we're gonna try to take all of Pepsi's market share, do you think what they would do is go out and put a tweet and say, hey, we're collaborating with Pepsi? No, they would say Pepsi's terrible. It's gonna be bad. Coca-Cola is supreme. It is the best, right? That is not what we saw in January of this year, right? When the bull market was just starting to warm up. Why, if I'm Ripple, if I think that Chainlink's coming for my market share, why would I collaborate with them? Why would I bring more exposure to my audience, my users, my token holders? Why would I bring them the name Chainlink if I'm intimidated by them, if I think that they're going to encroach on my territory and my future revenues, my future fees? That just doesn't make any sense.
I think that's a good analogy, but I'm going to do it better than that because I'm thinking about it, as we're prepping this for today. You just said Coca-Cola and Pepsi, right? Two two companies that do the same thing, right? They're clearly compete. But go back to even what you kind of analyzed there. XRP and Chainlink do not do the same thing. I think an imperfect analogy. So before people get in the comments and say, Tim, that's not how it works. This is an imperfect analogy. But track with me here. That is like saying that cars and roads compete. Not at all. Now, what you might have, let's pretend XRP is cars and Chainlink is the road. You might have a period where we thought, man, we're gonna see the car industry go up to $10 trillion. But all of a sudden you realize, well, we're not gonna be able to sell a lot of cars unless the roadways are really good. And so maybe you have to take some of that $10 trillion away from the car industry to build more roads. And maybe right now we're working on way more roads. And so that's more sexy, but saying, oh man, roads are going to kill cars. No, roads are laying the groundwork for cars. If XRP is the one handling transactions, replacing Swift, Chainlink is the one setting up the ability to handle those transactions, setting up the cooperation and communication between smart contracts, setting up cooperation between blockchain and in stocks and the public entities. It's almost like saying, again, it's like XRP is building a bunch of cars that are really cool cars, and Chainlink is building a bunch of really cool roads. They work together, not against each other. The only difference here, and this is where I will say, this is where I see the split coming, is of course you have XRP army out there saying that XRP is going to hit $1,000 per coin because they're doing all this math about burning of tokens and the market cap getting this many trillions of dollars. Yes. Could we see some money that would have flowed into XRP flow into Chainlink instead? Absolutely. But like I said, that's like saying I have $10 trillion. I can't put all 10 trillion into cars if the road system isn't good. I'm going to have to split it. And we might get to a point where we realize we might need to put a little bit more money into the road system, at least temporarily, before we can build all of these cars. So is there a world in which Chainlink flips XRP? I'm not predicting that, but I think that's a possibility. But this concept of it's going to eat XRP and it's going to kill XRP, no, it's actually going to work to make XRP and other cryptocurrencies way more effective. It's not Coca-Cola and Pepsi. It's cars and roads. That's the big difference here in what we're seeing. But that's kind of what I want to say. Ultimately, I saw someone saying in comments earlier, I'm buying both. But I think there's greater return on your investment for Chainlink than XRP. But that has to do with the fact that XRP's market cap is already so much higher than Chainlink's. I'm telling you, buy both these coins. Both these coins will make you money. Let's end the tribalism. Let's end the chaos of just saying my coin's bigger than your coin, better than your coin. My dad can beat up your dad. Why don't we just have cooperation and realize the future of freedom and our finances depends upon the emergence of cryptocurrencies like, some people are not going to agree with this, but like XRP and like Chainlink? Let's let them work together. Let's invest in both the cars and the roads at the same time and have a bright future. Guys, 4 o'clock already. 4 o'clock already.
Tim, I have a bit of a curveball. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm curious. What then is the coin? What is the Web3 project that is disproportionately positioned to take market share away from XRP? What is your answer to that?
Well, the most immediate one would be its copycat XLM. Ultimately, as a payment system, you're going to look at other coins and look at other payment systems that can happen. I think XRP does it so fast and so well. There's not really a great conversation to say things could go against it, but XLM is the one that comes to mind. I mean, could you see some evolution of things? Caspa is very fast and instant transaction based. A lot of people put Caspa in the same conversation as Bitcoin, but there's a reason why people put XRP in the same conversation as Bitcoin as well. So those are kind of all sitting in the same basket. Again, do I think this is going to take it over? No, but could you put Algo into the conversation of saying, could Algo steal some dominance away from XRP? Absolutely. Those are like comparing Coca-Cola and let's not call it Pepsi. That's like Coca-Cola and Bang. Would I rather drink an energy drink than Coca-Cola that's been around for a long time? That's a better conversation. I'll tell you, I think XRP is going to do very, very well in the long-term future. All those coins I just mentioned, I think all of them will make you money. I think XRP is just going to probably be the emerging number one choice for those transactions to happen. And that won't hit Bitcoin. That won't hurt Chainlink. That won't hurt Ethereum. That won't hurt Sui. It won't hurt BitTensor Tau. A lot of coins can make a lot of money. Guys, we're wrapping up the show again in just a couple of seconds. As soon as we're done here, we will have a video coming out on the Crux of Crypto channel, Bitcoin versus Caspa. But I wanted to also go through some other things that we don't promote as much as we should. Share my screen here, Smay. You guys know we're not just here on YouTube. We have other platforms as well. A lot of you guys do know, you can follow me, of course, over here on X, Tim Warren Trades, at Tim Warren Trades, with over 13,000 followers. We're growing over there. Get us higher there. Let's get this over 50,000 as well. But we also have an Instagram, and you're going to notice there's only 354 followers. Great stuff coming out here. Make sure if you have an Instagram account, go follow us right now, Tim Warren Trades. And while you're doing it, if you have a TikTok, go follow us over there as well, where we only have 846 followers. Let's get all these up over into the 50s. Please help us out. Go subscribe to those other social media accounts. If you want to go deeper with us, though, if you've been watching this show or other videos and you're saying, I love Tim, I love Shrum, I love Smay, I love the team that they've assembled, I want to learn how to invest, I want to learn how to trade, it gets even better when you go over into our VIP trading group in our Discord. Take my face down here for a second. There's 2 memberships. I absolutely encourage you to check out the Academy and the Essentials. If you're brand new to trading and you want to learn technical analysis, I highly encourage you to join the Academy, where we have live setups, not only for that in the Essentials, but we have a whole course where you can go watch videos and learn technical analysis. You also can get access to a free hat. That's really cool as well. So the Academy, a free hat, go check those out. If you already know TA, but you're looking for a group to trade with, and maybe you want a couple of refined skills, check out the VIP trading group. There's a chat over there. There's live trading every single day. We're posting our setups. Me, myself, and the other traders, we have several pro traders. We're posting our trades so that you can follow until you learn for yourself. Go check those out right now. All those links are in the description down below. We love YouTube. We're here on YouTube. We're going to be here on YouTube. But help us grow other accounts as well over there on Instagram, TikTok, X. And if you want to go deeper, join the VIP trading group today. Guys, we love you. We'll see you tomorrow. There's a video coming out on Chainlink price prediction. Then Friday, we'll be back for our Friday live show. We'll see you then.